Hey everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations, and you with Simon today. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, and what we're going to be exploring here is just kind of extracting the message that we feel is deeply significant and that is held with this lunar eclipse, and how this is going to essentially be our work for the next couple of months, and where we can actually benefit from what is being offered within the astrology chart. So I'm really excited actually to be sharing our message with you. One of the main reasons why I feel so deeply inspired about it is that this is one of those eclipses that I feel could deeply empower us to not only begin to reshape the way that we see our lives in a more healthier and empowered state, but also to give us the opportunity to begin, extracting ourselves away from the distraction in the world and to focus in on what's really awakening and alive within you. And that's something that I feel needs to be addressed more when it comes to, the time that we have here at the moment. We're living in incredibly transformative times. And one of the things that's very clear is we don't need to be living under the oppression of our own belief systems anymore. Right? This is what this energy is about. It's the potential to liberate ourselves from really seeing that the things that are holding us back sometimes can be the comfort of that identity that we have around the belief that says, I can't do this, or, the safety in not confronting yourself and pushing yourself a little bit forward and saying, you know what, this is what I desire, and this is what I would want, and this is what I like. And I'm going to make a concerted effort every single day to give myself 20 to 30 minutes to really invest in what's really real and important for me, and sort of kind of, tune out the world and really work on your own self, and, really being able to strengthen the scaffolding within yourself. Pluto is not going to be in Capricorn for a very long time. And for most people, that sounds like yes, but when we're coming from that mindset of, okay, Pluto's out of Capricorn, thank God it's in Aquarius, it's going to bring a whole series of Plutonian dynamics related to that archetype. So we're just going into something new. The Capricorn archetype, and why I said we've only got a little bit of time left with Capricorn, is the end, is particularly the end phase of Capricorn, is the point where you're running a race and you're on the last lap, your legs are incredibly tired, and it's that last phase where you just need to dig so deep within yourself and to ask yourself, how hungry am I to complete this experience? How hungry am I to transform my life in a way that, truly can express the potential or the meaning that I feel is held within me? And sometimes that question can be really, really difficult to answer. And that's okay. We're not trying to get it right. What we're trying to do is shift our attention to look inward and ask ourselves, what is it that wants to express itself through me? And how can I be a facilitator for that process? And then that leads us to, what can I do every single day that gives a little bit of time and attention to the thing that matters to me? And so in a sense, this is about self-mastery. And Pluto, or at least Capricorn, at least the end degrees of Capricorn, is self-mastery. It's the point in the hero and heroine's journey where you're just at the edge and you ask and you say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And that's when the little voice comes in and says, just push yourself a little bit more. Just push those boundaries of limitation a little bit more and see what you're really made of, right? So the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius, and we'll jump into that in terms of the actual chart itself. And if you have watched the introduction video, you'll get a sense of what I'm talking about as well. If you haven't watched the introduction video, I do encourage you to go do that. This video is part of a playlist where you also see Saturn retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Mercury retrograde, solar eclipse as well. You'll see that all in a playlist arrive at the point in which the content's created. So this energy, this potential that exists here for us, is offering us this opportunity to look at, where do we hold ourselves back? What beliefs do we have about ourselves that sometimes we look at it and we go, yeah, that's not a limiting belief system. And then you have an objective conversation with somebody that's really being honest with you, and you go, yeah, you're right. maybe I've been looking at it this way because it's comfortable to identify with the feeling of, whatever. Um, I didn't know how to see myself outside of that. So these are the types of questions that I feel are really important here with this lunar eclipse potential is, looking at your experiences, because you would have had some experiences over the last few days that would have really brought this into focus. The Uranus quincunxing Jupiter, the South Node and the Moon over there, and Jupiter being the planetary ruler of that. Where is it that we have beliefs about ourselves that we feel that we have been disempowered, as an example, So these are the questions that I feel could be really, really powerful to begin contemplating and looking back and reflecting over this period which we have this lunar eclipse affecting our lives. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the chart right now and let's see what we uncover there. All right, so here we're looking at the the lunar eclipse event chart, and we see this for the 26th of May 2021. And weirdly enough, when this time was actually taking place here where I was living, there was incredibly profound shifts that were taking place. Right, I was using my own medicine as to how I'm sharing it in this video, and I was able to find some really profound shifts in my personal self. So I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to be able to use this astrology as a way to free myself and liberate myself from ideas and beliefs and values that no longer represent me where I am today, and especially what is deeply empowering or liberating for myself. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show you guys is this Uranus and Taurus that I've been talking about, and the relationship with Uranus and Taurus to the square to Saturn, which is now, as you can see, retrograde. And also there's the quincunx. Can you see the 5-degree moon and the south node there? And then you see Uranus sitting there. So the quincunx between Uranus and the south node. And that pattern is where we will all receive in some way, shape or form, a sudden shock that will bring us to the present moment in which we will feel either a split between the value that we know inherently within us and where we may still be reaching out for external validation. Okay. So in some way, shape or form, if you really look at an experience that's going to take place with this lunar eclipse, you may have had it 3 days ago, you may have had it today, you may have it tomorrow, but every single one of us, and please, if you have had the experience, I really, really encourage you to write those experiences in the comments below, right? Just so that everybody else can kind of see this experience and get a deeper understanding of it. We can share these ideas. So that Uranus square to Saturn is bringing us into the moment, and it's bringing us in the moment to ask ourselves the question, where do we still have a subconscious or conscious need for validation externally, and how are we looking to shift from the need for validation externally and to internalizing and saying, here's my self-worth, this is what my time and value is, and I'm shifting my way of communicating in life to here's who I am authentically, not will you show me that I'm authentically through mirroring back to me that I exist, right? We're deeply internalizing and deeply shifting deep cultural value structures and beliefs and perceptions of ourselves that require everybody to say, hey, you are good, and so therefore you go, yes, I am good, as opposed to, no, I am who I am, and if I'm going to develop healthy relationships with people, I'm going to experience it in a way where another person's actions or another person's observations of me are their internal stuff, not yours, right? We're learning to shift away from the idea that we are responsible for everybody else's feelings. It's not true. You're responsible for yours. You're responsible for your healing. You're responsible for your trauma, in the sense of choosing to shift out of those narratives and ask yourself the question, how can I support myself? Always self-responsibility, Uranus and Taurus. But that doesn't mean that everybody will experience that. Many of us will experience the oppression, right? Jupiter is sitting at 1 degree in Pisces. And for those of you that know human design and the I Ching, if you do know the I Ching, I do encourage you to go look at hexagram 55, or if you're into gene keys, go listen to gene key 55. And you will hear where ultimately all of us are looking for that external validation. And if we don't get it, we feel this internal sense of not being seen. And we can feel deeply oppressed by our own limitations. We can feel victimized by life. And that's because we need somebody outside of us to validate that, yes, that's true, that happened to you, as opposed to, no, I know it happened to me. I know this is my experience. And we're beginning to shift that narrative. So that's also a big part of this Jupiter on the South Node, right? So Jupiter at 1 degrees Pisces that sits here, and it is the planetary ruler of the South Node. We are liberating ourselves progressively from ideas and beliefs and truths that we hold about ourselves that keep us from true empowerment. And it's an incredibly profound thing, but it does take some time to allow yourself that permission, right? To give yourself that permission to say, this experience was intense for me, and I no longer need to carry that narrative with me no longer. And I think it scares a lot of us because outside of that narrative, who are you? You know, sometimes when we feel that we can't let go of a belief system that serves our sense of attention, right? To be seen sympathetically by somebody else, right? Because that's maybe the only thing that we've been able to get that allows us to feel good about ourselves. That that belief system needs to go, right? And when you got to work on that, we've got to work on those wounds. We've got to work on those patterns within us, because you can't move forward and lead in your life if you're still asking another person to give you permission for your existence to be valid, right? So this lunar eclipse is coming in really hot. It's coming in really, really intense in the sense that it's going to show you where those patterns are. And this message here is to kind of really encourage us to feel that we have the power and potential to begin shifting those. And it's not a race. We're not trying to accomplish something or get a medal at the end of this. It's being able to see those patterns and be able to acknowledge them and then free ourselves by asking ourselves a counter question, right? So that's another North Node Mercury thing. So if you notice here in the lunar eclipse video, the lunar eclipse chart, you'll see the sun at 5 degrees Gemini, North Node at 10 degrees Gemini, and you'll notice here that there's a square to Jupiter, right? There's the square. It's taking place. If we look, or at least if we look at this, the sun goes all the way to Jupiter, right? So there's that square to Jupiter. The moon's also squaring it as well. So moon, sun, squaring Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter comes into focus here. Again, 1 degree of Pisces from hexagram 55, or within the context of astrology, where do I feel that I am disempowered here? How can I rewrite that narrative? Okay. And if you see Neptune sitting at 22 degrees, it's trining Mars, which ironically is in an opposition to Pluto. And if we analyze Pluto here, right, there's Pluto sitting in opposition to Mars. And then Pluto is also forming another quincunx to Mercury, right? So Pluto quincunx Mercury, which again is the North Node ruler. So this chart is speaking to sudden events that will take place in your life that will pull you into yourself. And the question that you will be asking yourself is, where do I feel that I have been abandoned? Wherever I feel that I've been betrayed, wherever I feel that I've lost something, that would be the Mercury Mars energy, because it's connected to Pluto, and will bring deep emotions to the surface. And then what you need to do with the Neptune trining the Mars is look at how we can empathetically heal the separation or core split that has occurred at a deeper part of our lives, right? An earlier part of our lives. And so you can see Chiron here trining the South Node and the moon. And so Chiron is speaking to the potential to heal through moving in a new direction, through liberating ourselves from the past patterns, past ideas, past projections, and to really move forward with a more stronger sense of autonomy about your life right now, as opposed to when those events originally took place. And what you want to be doing is liberating from the beliefs, South Node there, and you want to be using this North Node energy to question and go deeper into the reasoning, not even the reasoning, but go deeper into the experience. And I think I've explained this pretty well within this conversation. So that's the lunar eclipse chart in terms of the message I want to put across. I really hope that this kind of offered some value here as well. And I'll switch back to the other screen. Awesome, everybody. I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this video. And my question to you is, what about the chart analysis? Did you feel really resonated with you? What value did you get out of some of the insights that I was putting across? And I would even go as far as to say, maybe it would, maybe take a pen and paper and rewatch the video again and take some notes down around some aha moments or some realization moments that you had, so you can kind of really anchor that into your body, and so that you can move forward with this content in a way that deeply serves you, right? So I'd really love to hear your comments in the actual comment section. What was this video serving you, and how was it serving you, and what did you find valuable about the content? Okay. All right, everybody, have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.